diversification, and sustainable development. Its influence transcends borders, offering a blueprint for economic revitalization and prosperity across the Islamic Development Bank member countries. At the heart of the Vision 2030 lies a strategic imperative to foster a vibrant and interconnected economy that facilitates robust intra-OIC Organization of Islamic Cooperation, investment, and trade. This imperative, encapsulated in the second pillar of the vision, underscores the importance of collaboration and partnership in realizing our shared aspirations for growth and development. Today, I wish to explore not only the immense opportunities presented by Saudi investments, but also the critical role that ICIEC can play in mitigating risks and enhancing credit facilities to facilitate trade activities and promote foreign direct investments within Saudi Arabia and the OIC community. Firstly, let us acknowledge the vast potential for partnership and collaborations in key sectors such as renewable energy, agriculture, digitalization, pharmaceuticals, and halal food, for example. These sectors not only offer avenues for economic diversification, but also serve as a catalyst for sustainable development and inclusive growth. This strategic imperative not only strengthens economic ties amongst member states, but also activates a conducive environment for sustainable growth and prosperity. Allow me to illustrate this with a focus on these key sectors and that hold immense potential for collaboration and synergies. Firstly, the renewable energy sector presents a prime example of Saudi Arabia's commitment to sustainable development and environmental stewardship through initiatives such as the Saudi Green Initiative and the Middle East Green Initiative. The Kingdom is spearheading efforts to harness renewable energy sources, catalyzing innovation and investment opportunities across the OIC member states. Secondly, agriculture emerges as a cornerstone of socio-economic development, offering avenues for food security and rural livelihood enhancements. In that fact, Saudi Arabia's agricultural investments, particularly in technological advancements and sustainable practices, serve as a model for enhancing productivity and resilience in agricultural landscapes across our member states. Thirdly, digitalization emerges as a transformative force, revolutionizing industries and empowering societies. Saudi Arabia's digital transformation strategy, epitomized by initiatives like NEOM and the National AI Strategy, underscores the potential to leverage digital technologies for inclusive growth and economic empowerment throughout the OIC community. Fourthly, the pharmaceutical sector represents a nexus of innovation and healthcare delivery, offering opportunities for collaborations in research, development, and production. In that field, Saudi Arabia's burgeoning pharmaceutical industry, coupled with its commitment to fostering a conducive regulatory environment, paves the way for strategic partnerships aimed at advancing healthcare outcomes across our member states. Lastly, the halal food industry stands as a testament to the convergence of economic opportunities and cultural heritage. Saudi Arabia's endeavor to position itself as a global hub for halal products and services present avenues for enhancing trade and investment linkages, promoting economic diversification, and preserving cultural identity within the OIC framework. However, along these opportunities, we must also recognize the inherent risks and challenges that accompany cross-border investments and trade activities. Herein lies the role of ICIEC as a trusted partner and facilitator, offering innovative solutions to mitigate risks and provide credit enhancement. ICIEC stands poised to provide a range of risk mitigation tools, including political risk insurance, trade credit insurance, and investment insurance, tailored to the unique needs of investors and traders within the OIC community. Through these instruments, we aim to instill confidence, unlock financing, and catalyze investments flow across borders. Moreover, ICIEC's expertise in structuring Sharia-compliant financial solutions and its extensive network of partnership positions us as a catalyst for promoting foreign direct investments and fostering intra-OIC trade linkages. By leveraging our credit enhancement capabilities, we can enhance the attractiveness of investment opportunities, facilitate access to financing, and stimulate economic growth throughout the region. In conclusion, as we embark on this journey of collaboration and partnership, let us harness the transformative power of Saudi investments and the visionary aspirations of Vision 2030 to propel our economies toward a future defined by resilience, innovation, and shared prosperity. Together, let us seize the opportunities that lie before us while embracing the challenges as opportunities for growth and development. With ICIEC as our trusted partner and your trusted partner, we can navigate these waters with confidence, forging a path toward a more prosperous and interconnected OIC community. I thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
كل الشكر للأستاذ أسامة على هذه الكلمة.
Thank you, Mr. Osama, for this illuminating statement. May God bless you, and to reach the 30th anniversary of the ICIEC, and on that occasion we will watch that video.
For the Insurance of Investment and Export Credit, ICIEC, a member of the Islamic Development Bank Group, has been creating a meaningful, lasting impact in our member states. We strengthen relations, enable and facilitate cross-border trade, promote direct foreign investment, provide risk mitigation and credit enhancement, support international exporters, and tackle the major global challenges of our times, including COVID, food security, climate action, paving the way for sustainable economic growth throughout the Islamic world.
In the face of a complex global challenges, ICIEC remains a steadfast champion of trade and investment for its member states. By acting as a trusted partner of international exporters, financial institutions, and investors, ICIEC has been unlocking business opportunities for stakeholders across vital sectors, including infrastructure, healthcare, and food security.
ICIEC is the only multilateral export credit and investment insurance corporation that solely provides Sharia-compliant insurance and reinsurance offerings. Since our inception in 1994, we've achieved remarkable financial milestones. We've provided $108.3 billion under trade and investment. We've facilitated $51 billion of intra-OIC trade and intra-investment. Achieved a AAA rating by Moody's for 16 consecutive years and an AA- rating by Standard & Poor. And made our impact felt across each of our member states.
As ICIEC celebrates its 30th anniversary, I would like, on behalf of the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, BADEA, to present our best wishes to the leadership, management, and staff of ICIEC on this gracious occasion. We at BADEA, we are proud to see the partnership between the two institutions evolving over years, and together we have been able to achieve impact in many African countries.
Saudi Exim Bank and ICIEC have joined forces in reinsurance agreement that supports Saudi Exim Bank activity since establishment 4 years ago. The collaboration between Saudi Exim Bank and ICIEC has enabled to increase trade between Saudi Arabia and OIC countries by enabling and ensuring products and services export from Saudi Arabia and mitigate export risk.
Alors, Vous savez, l'avantage de travailler avec des structures comme ICIEC qui interviennent dans beaucoup de pays nous permet de faire ce qu'on appelle du benchmarking, de partager les bonnes pratiques, les expériences.
Dear ICIEC, on behalf of Boskalis, I would like to congratulate you with your 30th anniversary. Through your support, Boskalis has been able to execute many landmark projects in ICIEC member countries, thereby delivering an important contribution to the social economic development of its member countries. We look forward to creating new horizons with your support and contributing to the ongoing development of important maritime infrastructure.
We've contributed towards the achievement of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. In the agriculture sector, we've contributed $1.5 billion in our commitment to food security and the eradication of hunger, with key projects including $10.38 million for the Nahil farming project in Palestine. For the climate, we've supported positive action, with $2.35 billion going towards clean energy initiatives, such as support for high-impact ESG-related projects across Côte d'Ivoire. In infrastructure, we've provided $155 million for development projects in Uganda, $112.5 million for a major energy project in Indonesia, and $43.2 million to boost healthcare PPP projects in Turkey. We've also contributed to the development of key sectors, including $2.25 billion to transportation, $2.53 billion to textiles, $34.81 billion to oil and gas, $448.9 million to information and telecommunications, and $434.4 million to education. Today, we stand on the cusp of history. 50 years into the story of the ISDB and 30 years since our inception, determined to extend our influence, to enhance our impact, and support the sustainable economic development of our brothers and sisters across the Islamic world.
Our shared values and unwavering dedication have not only made a profound impact in the Islamic world, but have also resonated globally. As we stand at the precipice of a new chapter, I am filled with genuine optimism and eagerness for what lies ahead. It is not just about envisioning growth and innovation, but about the enduring impact we all create together with the transformative power of our collective efforts and the boundless possibilities that awaits us on this inspiring journey.
ICIEC, 3 decades of transformative impact, driving social and economic development.
تحية لآيسك، وإن شاء الله مزيد من السنوات من الازدهار والتقدم والنجاح. حضورنا الكريم، سنكون الآن مع
Honorable participants, now our second dialogue, Gateway to Growth.
Development in ICIEC member states. دعونا نرحب بمديرة هذه
We want to welcome Ms. Cornelia Million, the CEO of MRL Corporation in Djibouti.
the asset management. Let's give her a round of applause and the speakers as well. عفواً.
May I ask my esteemed speakers to please join me on the stage here.
Okay, so.
Okay.
Good morning. Sabah al-Khair. Welcome to the ICIEC session. What a day and what a time. We have 30 years existence of ICIEC, we have 50 years existence of the Islamic Development Bank, and we have Vision 2030 taking off in great bounds and leaps. So it's a real pleasure and honor, and thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Kaisi, for inviting us here to chair this session. just very few introductory remarks, which is, you know, the Vision 2030 has really propelled Saudi economic activities both inside the country with big projects such as gigaprojects, such as NEOM and Al-Qidya and all of these good projects, and also investment abroad has become very strategic. When I look at the public investment funds investment, Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, and also when I look at the MENA Green, the Middle East Green Initiative, which is an initiative by His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman and the Energy Ministry to help greening, to help get us towards net zero in the region as well. So all of this is very important. But some of the countries, of the member countries, of our member countries, of ICIEC member countries, of IDB member countries, still face challenges. And ICIEC will help the investment to go where it couldn't go otherwise by reinsurance guarantees. So this panel will look at Saudi investment abroad and what can be done, how it's received, and what can be done to make it very effective. And it's a great honor, as my first speaker, to have Mr. Saad Abdulaziz Al Khalb, who is the CEO, His Excellency, of the Saudi Exim Bank, a very crucial part of the Saudi push abroad. Your Excellency, how does Saudi Exim Bank advise investments and private sector activity in OIC member countries? That would be a sort of a very important question going to the core of the subject matter.
Good morning, Carolina. Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be here in ISDB annual meetings. It's always a great platform, and this platform is even greater. It marks 50th anniversary of the ISDB, half a decade of success and more to come. At the same time, it marks the 8th anniversary of Saudi Vision 2030. We are halfway through our journey in Saudi Vision 2030. Saudi Exim Bank, one of the fruit of the Saudi Vision 2030s, and as you rightly mentioned, to enable trade and investment for Saudi Arabia to go abroad and mitigate risk. Since inception of Saudi Exim Bank in 2020, we collaborate with ICIEC, among other reinsurance companies, to build our insurance books and help our exporters, be in trade or investment. We are currently did over 20 billion Saudi riyals for insurance since 2020, and another 20 billions for lending. So a total of almost 40 billion Saudi riyals in 4 years. Out of that, 16 was done last year. So we are ramping up and moving up quickly. We are currently covering over 90% of the OIC countries through our products and services. Insurance for investment is very important. Mm-hmm. Our board of directors just recently approved investment insurance products specifically to encourage and protect Saudi investors to invest abroad. I'm sure that our colleague here from PIF can talk about it. I mean, there is a big PIF initiative for investment in multiple countries already announced and already going forward. We are working with them to help them. I can maybe mention one project that we already did a closure to it, which is Aqua Power Hasyan Power Station in Dubai. Green desalination project that will produce water from solar energy we participated in this project, which is considered as an investment because it's a 30 years project.
Well, you've just mentioned one of my favorite Saudi champions, Aqua Power, which is the largest privately held desalination company in the world and has one of the largest renewable energy portfolios in the world. And this gives me a natural segue to Mr. Yaqub Abdul Qadir, who is the director of the PPP, Public-Private Partnership Department of the Ministry of Finance in Uzbekistan. And you have a very, very successful PPP program. And you also have received a fair amount of investment. And Aqua Power is one of your big, big investors, particularly in the power generation. How has that investment served as a catalyst for development, also for private sector activity? Could you please, in 2.5 minutes, elaborate? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Cornelia. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to ISDB for giving me such an honor to deliver a speech about the financial and the PPP trends of Uzbekistan. Indeed, the volume investments being attracted by Saudi companies and Saudi investors is becoming remarkably high, supportive, and very appreciable. And allow me to highlight that up to date, around overall more than $16 billion public-private partnership projects, large-scale PPP projects have been implemented in different sectors. And out of 17 or 16 billion, $40 billion are energy projects like solar IPPs, wind IPPs, combined cycle gas turbines, and cogeneration. And in this amount, the contribution of Saudi company Aqua Power is very huge, appreciable, and very supportive. And Aqua Power is building and implementing on PPP basis solar IPPs, wind IPPs, CCGT, which is 1,500 megawatt in Sirdarya region. At the same time, Aqua Power is enhancing the capacity building in one of the college called Shirin in Sirdarya region, where the students learn overseas experience of Aqua Power and to apply to Uzbekistan projects. So Aqua Power, I think, is a role model, is becoming the role model company for other Saudi companies or investors who are planning to enter into Uzbekistan markets. And together with Aqua Power, it is appreciable and supportive as well. We have seen the presence of other companies like Taka, Mubadala, and Saudi Tabrit, Vision Invest, and others in different sectors like logistics, like pharmaceutical, trading, as well as other sectors, and utilities as well. So it is very appreciable. And as I said, for example, IFIs or other MDBs like ISDB or IDB already present in Uzbekistan as well. So it is also very supportive and appreciable. Thank you.
Yeah, and ICIEC are the best of all of them. I would say that, wouldn't I? Well, next I have a great honor of having His Excellency Mr. Amadou Hott, Special Envoy of the President of the African Development Bank on the Alliance for Green Infrastructure. Mr. Hott, you've done it all. You've been an investment banker, you've been a government minister, you've been a VP at the AFDB, and now you're a special envoy for greening the continent. So, it's green power generation, green infrastructure were at the core of the activities throughout your career, so you really know a lot about it. What should be expected from different stakeholders to build a strong partnership to foster investment, in particular from the private sector in climate, green infrastructure in Africa, and how does this apply to Saudi investors?
Thank you very much, Cornelia. I want to thank first Osama for inviting us to this important session, and also to congratulate Osama for all the work done over the last 9 years. We've seen the portfolio increasing drastically on the African continent. As you said, basically, we need more bankable projects in Africa. People talk about opportunities, potential. Many investors, including Saudi investors, wanting to do more on the continent. If you look at Aqua Power, they've been doing a lot on the African continent, including in sub-Saharan Africa. Yep. But more needs to be done because we have more than 600 million people who still do not have access to electricity. And the government cannot do it alone. We need to do more IPPs. And to do more IPPs, you need to have more bankable projects. And to have more bankable projects, you need basically the governments to do one thing, the MDBs to do one thing, to have the developers to do one thing. Those three work together to increase the portfolio of bankable projects. Because the private sector cannot come in too early, because the money to develop project is risky capital. 1 out of 2 projects in general, fails during the development phase. So you need more soft money, you need more blended capital to risk that capital to increase the portfolio of bankable projects.
Do you also need more technical assistances to help capacity building?
That's very critical, because if you do not have the right PPP laws, like in Uzbekistan, like in Senegal, where I was minister, we revamped completely the PPP law to attract more private investments. And you need also in government ministries the right technical assistance, the right staff to negotiate with the private sector, to undertake reforms, to have the right planning. Because everything comes from the vision, then you have the planning, then you identify a list of projects, you spend money for initial preparation, you spend money for development, and then you do project finance with the MDBs, the developers, the private sector, the commercial bank, the insurers. For example, ICIEC, as a guarantee insurance provider, can support more the implementation of IPPs, because in most African countries, you need the government guarantee to back the PPA. And the government guarantee can be backed by an institution, AA rated by S&P, to back the undertaking of the government, to make the project more bankable, comfort to investors. And one point also is that instead of, in addition to backing the PPA or the undertaking of the government, ICIEC, I'm sure also is already doing that, giving insurance on the equity investments. We can undertake into a more riskier environment in certain African countries.
Well, thank you very much. I loved the way you put it. It basically takes a village to raise a child, and it takes a country to ensure a country and all sorts of entities to ensure you have a successful project. I'm now going from building projects. I'm going to making sure the projects don't dealing with the waste of projects and dealing with waste management and the environment. And I'm talking to Mr. Ziad Al-Shiha, who is CEO of Investment Recycling Company. It's a public investment fund, Saudi public investment fund company. It operates in line with the very stringent Vision 2030 goals for recycling and not having waste and cleaning up the environment. So you provide, you develop and finance waste management solutions across all types of waste. So, which is very important. You promote sustainable practices and solutions to manage waste effectively in line with these recycling and waste treatment goals under Vision 2030. How do your activities contribute to the economic development of KSA, of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and to the implementation of Vision 2030?
Wonderful. First of all, I'm deeply honored to be here, and I congratulate the Islamic Development Bank for reaching their milestone of 50. Mr. Al-Qaisi, congratulations to you and the leadership of the bank. Let me start by posing the challenge. The challenge today is, or I would say the great challenge today, is 95% of the garbage or the waste goes to landfill today as we speak. So that's a great challenge for all of us. 2 billion tons of garbage get produced globally. In the kingdom, we produce around 100 million. That is our share of that total garbage. Some people look at it as resource, and some people look at it as garbage. We tend to look at it as true resource. Now, the environmental degradation, part of the challenge, has been evaluated to be at 86 billion Saudi riyal. Some of it coming from the air emission, some of it coming from the illicit water, some of it coming because of health, some of it come because of the misuse of land. It's not proper to use land for landfill. And as I said, 95% goes to that, and add to that, 70 million CO2 or equivalent get emitted. So this is the great challenge. Now, to me, that also poses a great opportunity. So Mr. Al-Khilb was asking me, I remember ICIEC when it was a small company, 20 people, $1 million. I would say within less than a couple of years today, we are over 2,000 people managing asset under management today of $1.5 billion. So we looked at this as a great opportunity. My colleagues and I have a very focused campus on that. And Vision 2030 basically helped us. If you have the campus of Vision 2030, back to your question, is what set the campus for all of us. His Royal Highness indicated in the Saudi Green Initiative that instead of 95% goes to the landfill, we will have 94% goes away from the landfill, which means get that, use it as a treasure, use it, put it back in the circular economy. I just want to give facts and figures about the numbers that we do today. What we dump in the landfill is almost equivalent to 60 million barrels of crude oil annually. That is almost equivalent, so what we dump in the garbage, that's almost equivalent to nations' entire use of oil. Case in point, Qatar, New Zealand, and so on. So whatever they use annually, we dump it in the landfill. So there is a big opportunity to recover that 60 million and put it back in the circular economy. This is just to give you a feel. Yeah. If we do the proper landfill, or not utilize the landfill, but recycle, we lower the emission by 70 million, and we create 77,000 jobs, basically pouring into the economy 120 billion of GDP, because we look at this great challenge to transform it into great opportunity.
This is actually great, because what you're doing is you are creating jobs which are needed. You have a big population under the age of 30, and you're saving CO2, and you're saving the environment, and you walk the talk. You don't even have business cards. We had this thing. So he is so worried about waste that he doesn't have business cards anymore. He only has electronic business cards. That's really walking the talk. That's very, very good. So my next question goes to Mr. Fahad Ali Abdullah Al-Kafari. He is the board member of the Saudi Contractors Authority, but he also runs a big construction company. Go to the REA and you see some of the work that his company has done. So Mr. Al-Kafari, the missions of the Saudi Contractors Authority is to organize the contracting industry through setting and executing high-quality organizational standards, encouraging innovation and developing skills. How does, again on the Vision 2030, how does let's first go on the Saudi level and then we go on the international plane. Okay. How does what you do sort of support Vision 2030, and how have you become more important? Because you look at NEOM, you know, Qiddiya, you look at all of these projects. Oh my, this is construction heaven here.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
As a matter of fact, the Saudi contractor, in addition to all you have mentioned, specifies the different challenges that we always witness in the Saudi market. We have found appropriate solutions at the different levels relevant to all those who are interested in that field. As we have said, the government sector represents 70% of the size of operations in that sector. The contracting authority of Saudi Arabia has contributed to improvement of the climate of investment and financing and the management of all those projects that will positively reflect on the sector. As a matter of fact, we are working at the present time for the development of a platform also to prepare the contractors so that they'll be able to work in the mega projects in the kingdom. As regards operating under the umbrella of the ISDB, we do not have a direct role with the contractors under the ISDB, but as a matter of fact, it is within the framework of the Federation of the Islamic countries. We always partner with the member states on the different occasions for the future operations and events that are prepared and organized by the contracting authority in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the mega projects in the region. As a matter of fact, it's a good appropriate occasion in order to endeavor in the future in the kingdom in 2021. This will be a good opportunity for all the contractors that work under the umbrella of the different federations in the Islamic countries. Hence, it would be a very good opportunity to take part and contribute in such projects. In the light of the Federation of the Islamic Countries Contracting Authority, there are different activities where partnership takes place in order to face all challenges.
It was very good how you just told us that what you do actually through the Federation can sort of, help set standards, in the broader OIC environment. So, but I'm coming back with my second question, and then we go to Q&A. My second question to you, Your Excellency, Saudi Exim Excellency, is what role can ICIEC play in supporting Saudi Exim's activities at the OIC, across the OIC region? I was very impressed. You said you're already working together. And I was really impressed when you said how quickly you grew. America and Saudi Arabia, you always need to put many zeros behind any number because the numbers are so mind-boggling big.
Thank you. I would like to thank Mr. Al-Qaisi and ICIEC, because they help us in setting up our insurance business since 2020, where we managed to launch our first product late 2022. Mm-hmm. So the collaboration is not only a business deal, it's a knowledge sharing and enablement. Plus they are one of our main reinsurance company as we speak and since inception. We did over $1 billion during the last 3 years or 2.5 years of launching the project with the products of insurance with ICIEC. And as you know that anything related to Saudi Vision 2030 is very ambitious. Our target is that to multiply our financial output by 5 times by 2030. So we did $16 billion out of it, 16 billion riyal out of it, 8 billion riyal of insurance, 9 billion riyals of insurance last year. So we're multiplying this by 5 times to over 50 billion riyal by 2030, inshallah.
I'm an economist by training. But I think I need to get used to the many zeros behind any number these days in KSA. So next I will actually go to Mr. Hott, and then I will go to Uzbekistan. Mr. Hott, when we look at what AFDB is doing, can you tell us more about your initiative, the initiative, the green initiative, and how can you collaborate with ICIEC to support investments in the member countries of both African Development Bank and ICIEC? Because I think what you're doing is very important. We have the MENA, the Middle East Green Initiative, but you are having your own African, green initiative from the African Development Bank.
Thank you very much. At COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, the African Development Bank, Africa 50, and the EU launched the Alliance for Green Infrastructure in Africa, with the goal to address the need to have more bankable projects and the need also to mobilize the ecosystem, provide it with the needed development capital, as I said earlier, to develop more bankable projects in green infrastructure in Africa. So we are raising $100 million for technical assistance, project preparation. This is for the African governments to support them. And then $400 million of blended finance facility, where we have some grant element, we have junior equity, senior equity going into project development. So for the first time, we're using philanthropy money, using donor money to attract private sector money into project development. So,
and how is that going? I mean, what sort of people from the philanthropic space are supporting you?
Absolutely. I mean, we are targeting total 500 million. Within a year, we've been able already to mobilize roughly about $270 million, while we initially wanted to close only at about 150. And we will do this closing by September. And we already have 5 G7 countries supporting this initiative with money available. We have the African Development Bank, of course, Badea, our great partner, BOAD, philanthropy from the United States, African institutions investing with the African Development Bank to set up this fund. And this will close in September. And then from there, we'll be co-investing with private developers, including from Saudi Arabia. For example, if Aqua Power has a project in Africa, we can co-invest on the development phase and then exit to them at the end. And ICIEC can then co-finance those, co-guarantee those projects, for example, with the African Development Bank. Any PPAs virtually in Africa, I can say 80% of the PPAs in Sub-Saharan Africa would need the sovereign guarantee backed by an institution like ICIEC, the African Development Bank, or other credit-worthy institutions. One point I guess I wanted to make before we move to the next question, one number, 2.7% is the default rate of project finance in Africa, 2.7%. It is the lowest, the second lowest default rate in the world after GCC. This is a study that was done by Moody's, not by an African institution, by Moody's, very objective study during 32 years from 1983 to 2015, only 2.7%. Better than Western Europe, better than Latin America, better than Asia. That's why we need more Saudi investments. The perception of risk is wrong. We've set the record straight.
Well, it's very good. It's very good that you clear that, and you clearly have a big PR mission here on your hands to make sure people understand that. But I'm coming back to Uzbekistan now. You know, the PPP framework is very comprehensive. I know it, as you know, I know it very well. But still, it gives some assurances to investors, but still it may not be enough. How are you working? I mean, I know you're working with MIGA and you're working with other institutions, but how could you work specifically with ICIEC to help, you know, to help give assurance to investors?
Yeah, each and every stage of the project life cycle, the supportive servicing products of IFIs, MDBs are very crucial and very important. First of all, the capacity building stage to implement the projects in a proper way, and during the tendering process, and then during the financial close and after the commercial operation date. Each and every stage we can, how can I say, have the supportive products of the MDBs would be very beneficial. And we are implementing all PPP projects in Uzbekistan based on non-recourse project finance. So here, each and every participants in the projects are doing their, how can I say, contribution as well as the supportive services. For example, we have been collaborating with IFIs like EBRD, World Bank, and other ADB in order to backstop, for example, the letter of credit opened by overseas banks for, let's say, generated electricity or products from the plants. So here we are collaborating for kind of sovereign, how can I say, guarantee indemnity agreement. For this kind of, I think, we are experiencing this kind of approach with other IFIs and MDBs. So the alternative approach, like Sharia compliance basis or integrated basis with the ICIEC would be really beneficial and, how can I say, supportive.
Yeah, you need to work with ICIEC. They're great people. I can attest,
yeah, and also
I can attest to that, but we need to go to the next speaker because we need to have time for Q&A, sadly. I'm going to Mr. Fahad Al-Kafari. How can your member countries, and you sort of alluded to that, how can your member companies and how can your association help Saudi companies when they go abroad? Because, you know, there's Saudi projects. Very often there's, you know, if there's a project in Uzbekistan, there may be an Uzbek contractor, but sometimes you may also choose to have a Saudi contractor.
As a matter of fact, we still thank Allah that the Saudi market is a mega one for any contractor, and our aspiration and hopes outside the Saudi Arabia in the face of the challenges at the international level, most importantly is the financing and providing the different material and the supply chains in all countries, in the Islamic countries. This is constitutes a big challenge for all the contractors that are working under the umbrella of the ICIEC. As a matter of fact, I believe that some of our countries have taken initiatives to solve those challenges and have contributed and helped the contractors to be able to work in other countries. Yet, this challenge still exists in many countries. And I believe that being under the umbrella of the ISDB could be the nucleus for our institutions to tackle such challenges. We still, as a matter of fact, having a contracting going out to other countries, a difficult challenge to be faced in the light of the different challenges I've mentioned.
Would like to respond.
Thank you.
Very true, but this is where we come play in a role as a Saudi Exim with support of ICIEC and other reinsurance companies, where we support contractors to go abroad. As we speak, our balance sheet, we have contractors working overseas with both facilities, financing, and insurance. And we are discussing a few other projects moving forward. If we think about the initiative of PIF, around 27 billion riyal, if I recall correctly, or dollar, that will be allocated to multiple countries, including Egypt, Jordan, Oman, Bahrain, Iraq. Maybe I forgot a couple of them, but those will be a lot of new initiatives, and this investment money will generate infrastructure project where to go open doors for Saudi contractors with a very good track record that we have in Saudi Arabia for our contractors. By supporting them through our products and services, we can help ensuring the receivables, payment, help with the cash flow through the project. So this is where Saudi Exim and ICIEC can play a direct role to grow Saudi contractor base to overseas countries.
So
thank you.
The future is bright, the future is Saudi, and not just in the kingdom, to sum it up. Now I would actually like to go back, to Mr. Shiha. waste and waste management is also a huge issue, not just in the kingdom, especially also in many of the OIC member countries. And you know, the poorer the country, sort of the bigger the issue, and the more Western nations ship their waste there, which makes it a real problem. Are you or do you intend to expand your activities, you know, to OIC member countries? And how would you like to cooperate with ICIEC should that be the case?
Well, I think you're right on target. The amount of waste is huge, not only in the Middle East or Africa, but globally. As I said, there are 2 billion. And almost, if you take the global average, there's like 50% that still goes to landfill, unfortunately. There are very few handful of countries that have achieved a landfill diversion that is close to 100%, similar like to Germany, Norway, but very, very few countries, Japan, for example. But the overwhelming majority of the countries, no, they still have landfill.
And even if they do, I was in London, I religiously separate my waste, and I get up very early, and the waste collectors came in the morning, and I saw that my religiously separated waste went all in the same truck together. Even if they say they do, they sometimes don't.
That's very true, and that's why I think it takes a multifaceted approach. One of it is the cultural behavior, and that's what we have to invest. Europe, and there are some advanced countries that invested in that over the past 30, 40 years. I had Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Sweden, and I was telling her about our programs in the kingdom. And she said, Ziad, I am over 50 years old, and I remember these programs 50 years ago when I was 3 or 4 years old. Back in school, they were teaching us the segregation and the cartoon characters to encourage. So there is multifaceted things that we have to do, not only investment, but it's a cultural behavior, it's a shift, it's a paradigm, how we look at it. But also I want to mention a very, very important point. The fact that I brought with me today the periodical tables. You can see it here. Maybe most of engineers will recognize what these are the elements that we have today. Now, a lot of them are non-renewable. So a lot of them, we need them. And what are we going to do? What are we going to do about them? So we don't believe that the periodic table is only 114 elements. We added one more element. You know what that is?
Tell me.
Is the human element. At ICIEC, we believe there's one element very important, and we're looking at them. My colleague Faisal, my colleague Noura, my colleague Sultan, those are the leaders, technical, technology, financial, who will make and recycle and bring back to mankind those elements that we need in the renewables, that we need in everything in our life that we see today. Back to your point, yes, we have great challenges in the kingdom, we have a long way to go, but also we are seeing a great opportunity to go and see other places and explore the horizon. I was just one final, I was pleasantly surprised by Mr. Hutt's comment. If you asked me the default rate, I would have guessed north of 15%. But he said 2.7 in Africa. It really pleasantly surprised me.
No, absolutely, and you're absolutely right. And when you come from the extraction of base metals from the waste, so important, especially in the light of energy transition, where we'll have new dependencies on certain base metals, and we need to be really very careful in how we manage the resources. So I'm very happy that you mentioned that. So now we have not much time. We have about 6-7 minutes for Q&A. And I see a gentleman back there. I see 3 gentlemen. I'll take these 4 questions together, and then we can answer them. And because in the interest of time, please state your name, state your affiliation, and be very short in your question, because they're very strict on managing time here.
Thank you very much. My name is Lotfi Zairi. I work for ICIEC in the IDB group. Well, in line with the main theme of the panel, we have seen certain Saudi companies which went abroad, and I believe also Saudi banks are pretty much encouraged by the Saudi authorities to go on cross-border financing as well. So I would like to hear from the Saudi representative here, the recycling company, the Saudi Contractor Authority, as well as Saudi ICIEC, about their probably future strategy to go abroad, being to benefit, first of all, from the Saudi banks' financing facilities, and especially with the wrap-up and credit enhancement that would be provided by ICIEC. Thank you.
We need to be very short in the question. I think I can only take one more because we can't have, we're running out of time. Let's take this gentleman over there, and then let's have this gentleman over there. He was the first one, and see you, the two others, if we have time.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مالك علي دنقلة الأمين المقاولين بالدول الإسلامية.
My question is, we signed yesterday an agreement for ensuring export to the Union and giving preference for the contractors working from abroad. But my question to the African gentleman is about the default, 2.7%. Well, in fact, we have the problem in Africa, the change of exchange rate, and the government is insisting on the local rate exchange. The question is, how can we overcome such a problem in contractors and contracting work? Thank you.
A competent person, because he's both a banker, a minister, and a development banker. But so let us go for the first question. I think Saudi ICIEC could kick that up.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the question. Actually, it's a good question. That's where we are here, to provide the contractors, to provide exporter in general and contractor specific with the contents of this question, with the credit enhancement tools being guarantees locally and internationally, or insurance products that will protect their investment and protect their even operation abroad. So it is the role of the contractor to find the project and come to us, and we'll be more than happy to provide this suite of projects. As I mentioned earlier, this is already existing, and we are already financing and providing insurance to some of the contractors, Saudi contractors working abroad, and we encourage Saudi contractors to go abroad to diversify their market and exposed to different dynamic and provide more revenue streams. The product that we do, it's a pure, we have both Sharia compliance and conventional based on the contractor and the contract needs, so it's available. More than happy to support.
Fantastic, and I think we first recycle and then we contract.
In fact, the Saudi Association for Contractors is partnered with different partners across the world, of course, as included by His Excellency Governor of ICIEC in terms of the support and financing. I believe that the Society for Contractors in the Kingdom is able to overcome the operational challenges that may face such kind of projects. Behind the shadow of doubt, it is the responsibility of the authorities that we are exporting or preparing the sector for work. They have already partnered with local contractors, and they have been working across the GCC countries, and also they've gone to Malaysia. So I believe there will be more support by the authority, along with what His Excellency has already mentioned, to ensure the operation of projects as well as such.
I would like to recycle now.
I'm I'm not sure there was a direct question to the recycling, but if I may have
Yes,
a final word. There are great challenge, no doubt, about the recycling and taking care of our environment. Some people look at it as a great challenge. I would like to say that it's a paradigm shift. Let's look at it as a great opportunity. Great opportunity that we can address the cultural issue, the behavior issue of mankind, and then, because at the end of the day, we breathe the same air, we use the same seawater, and we use also the planet water. So let's all be responsible, and we can transform that into creating jobs, prosperity, and bringing back the finite material, that we should not let it go in the linear economy, but bring it back in the circular economy. And I think we make our world, the air, the sea, the land, much better place to live in.
Absolutely. So the future is bright. The future is the circular economy. Monsieur, yes, absolutely.
Yes, thank you very much. I mean, going back to the first question, the opportunity is big. Over $2 trillion of infrastructure projects expected to be deployed or needed from now until 2040 in the OIC countries. So there will be a great opportunity for contractors to participate in those projects using credit enhancement tools and insurance products. Thank you.
Okay, and the last answer is, and then we need to wrap up, is Monsieur Hott, the default rate in Africa.
Yes, the default rate is low, and the gentleman was talking more about the currency risk, basically. Yeah. In many African countries, you have a floating exchange rate, and we've seen some devaluation in many big economies in Africa. There are many tools for the investors to sort of protect itself against that risk. You can have some contract in a foreign currency in many countries if you're doing IPPs. And in many countries also, you can price in basically the FX risk into your contract if the contract is in local currency. And if you're investing, for example, in IPPs, in most countries, the PPA is either in dollar or in euro, or at least linked to dollar and to euro. You are paid in local currency, but the convertibility into euro or dollars is guaranteed sort of in the PPA, so that help reduce also your FX risk. And in some regions, the local currency is pegged to the euro, and since 1994, there have been no devaluation. So the risk of devaluation in the future is extremely low, and that is in the West African Monetary Union, where the CFA franc is linked to the euro, but also in the Central African region as well. So basically, the FX risk is there. It can be hedged, and the cost of hedging can be reflected also in the contract. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And we come to the end. Allow me to give a very, very short summation. In line with the title, we have seen that, you know, all the things happening in Saudi Arabia with Vision 2030 can also has been also a catalyst for Saudi investment abroad. And we've seen, especially in Uzbekistan, where in the power sector, Aqua Power, you have these champions, Jamil Group, Aqua Power, is so important in also greening the electricity production. And really the PPP framework is very important in that. And we've seen how Saudi Exim supports Saudi contractors, Saudi companies going abroad. And you're the man of the glass, if not half full, the glass is full, full, full. When you say, look here, all these opportunities. We've seen that the African Development Bank has the Alliance for Green Infrastructure, where it really works hard on greening the energy production and infrastructure on the continent. And what I was particularly struck by is your ability to also co-opt, for lack of a better word, co-financing from philanthropic institutions. We've also seen that in Africa, you know, your default is much rate is much lower than we thought. When you look at the Saudi contractors, you're doing a lot to ensure that the standards are held and that Saudi Vision 2030 can be implemented seamlessly in the kingdom, and with the help of these wonderful people from ICIEC and Saudi Exim Bank, you might want to capitalize also on the big construction opportunities, especially in the Middle East. And then finally, and last but not at all at least, the environment, it is a paradigm shift. Under Vision 2030, you are doing a lot. And you know, the targets are astronomical, right? They're very high, but you'll probably get there. And that also creates an opportunity for you to go outside of the country and help other countries, OIC member countries, deal with their waste management issues. And all of this would not be with these ventures abroad, would not be possible if it wasn't for ICIEC and other insurers, and obviously Saudi Exim, and other insurers, because ICIEC will allow companies to go to places where they couldn't, where their shareholders wouldn't allow them to go otherwise, because they give them the guarantees and assurances. Would you please join me in giving this fantastic panel a great hand now?
Thank you so much for this very insightful session. So please, صورة جماعية إذا ممكن بس.
Please, you're kindly requested to come on stage or to stay on stage for group photo. Equally important, we're calling Osama Al-Qaisi, the CEO of ICIEC, to come on stage for group photo. Please, we'll clap for all.
Group photo. تحية والآن.
Now, some honors are thankfully to be given to you now on stage.
Participating in this panel discussion, please. Yes, let's give them the gifts. شكرا. ممكن تسمح لنا بس نبغى نعطيك هدية تعبيرا عن.
We'd like to give you some gifts in appreciation for what you have already contributed.
To thank you for this very exciting and interesting discussion. شكرا جزيلا. شكرا. Thank you so much. Thank you. مرة أخرى شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you ever so much for all the speakers, and big thanks go to the great moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have a 15-minute break, then we will resume our agenda. Thank you.